Hello YouTube. Well, welcome to my new channel. I'm Pulsepunk. I've been interested in Pulsechain and was involved in the sacrifice phase. I've seen a lot of videos and comments by other channels describing how late sacrifices are possibly providing some level of price discovery for the launch. For me, it's key to know the dollar volume being sacrificed daily to know how valid a theory that really is. I couldn't find any data analysis anywhere else, so I decided to do it myself. And then, in the spirit of being a good citizen, I decided to create my own channel and share it with you. Hope it's useful. Please do comment. Please do provide criticism. Correct me if I've got anything wrong. I've done a lot of this quite quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if I've made some mistakes. And then, as every channel out there always says, please remember this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. So, first piece of analysis I've done, I extracted the data from the Ethereum blockchain and I've had a look at how much money is being sacrificed on a daily basis since the 4th of August. So I think the sacrifice phase ended on the 3rd of August, I believe. So since then, I calculate there's been a total of 3 million US dollars sacrificed since the 4th of August, roughly for about 2.1 billion pulse, an average rate of around a tenth of a penny per pulse, which is way up from the average because I believe that was a hundredth of a penny that people paid during the sacrifice phase. Some of the people who have sacrificed late have gained a really bad rate. Some people have gained a better rate if they sacrificed earlier on. As you can see in the chart in the middle, on the 4th of October, one particular individual sacrificed 493,000 US dollars. Interestingly, mostly from one address. So there was someone who got really late to the party for Pulse, but still decided, even at a rate of $0.004 per pulse, that it was worth it. And I think personally, in the long term, that we proved completely correct when we are talking about a year, 2, 3 years down the line. I'll move my face for a second if I can. So you can see out into today, the 25th of November, you're still seeing a good amount sacrificed. I'll go into more detail on that in a second to show you how much is being sacrificed. This is the information about the address I just pointed out that on the 4th of October sacrificed a fairly large amount. I think you can see from this screenshot they sent 94 Ethereum. I did a little bit of a chain analysis on this particular account. There wasn't a huge amount of interest, shall we say. It wasn't like there was any kind of huge whale. There wasn't huge amounts of other tokens in their address. It seemed like this address was funded about 6 months ago, mainly from Kraken and Binance, and the main transactions they did were to buy Pulse. So here you can see a more zoomed in version of the chart I showed you a second ago of the Pulse being sacrificed late. All I've done here is zoom in so that you can see more of the values for the smaller amounts. And what you can clearly see is, on average, we're seeing between about $10,000 and $20,000 sacrificed per day, even now, which is interesting. So, the whole reason I did this analysis was every time I'm hearing someone talk about, oh, you can use the bonding curve and the current rate to predict the price at launch and in the future, I'm always very skeptical based on the fact that how much is actually being sacrificed. It could just be one person sending a tiny amount of Ethereum, and therefore actually it doesn't really mean anything. Now, these numbers aren't huge in terms of the average per day, but they're not insignificant. People are willing to pay 0.05, i.e. 5 cents. Sorry, I always want to say pennies because I'm from the UK, per pulse. So it's not crazy amounts, but I think it's not insignificant, and it is showing some level of price discovery. So I was quite encouraged by this. So what are the key takeaways for me? There's not a huge amount that's been sacrificed late compared to the actual sacrifice phase. So in total, there has been about $3 million that have been sacrificed, excluding the OA during the actual sacrifice phase. There was around 700 million sacrificed. Given the fact that that lasted for, I can't remember the exact amount, but it was like 10, 20 days, something like that. And we're talking about months and months that we've seen this $3 million come in. So that's a little bit of a reality check on the figures I just showed. However, 15K per day is still being sacrificed at a cost currently of 5 cents. So that's not bad volume when you consider how most people have put off the current rates in the sacrifice phase. So the thing that I'm always most interested in whenever I'm watching other people's Pulsechain videos is price predictions. So here's a couple of key points for me coming up with a guesstimate of what I think the price might be. So those who dump their free ERC20s that they've got a free copy of on Pulsechain, so particularly people who haven't been involved in the sacrifice phase, I worry that those people may come onto Pulse and dump their ERC20s quickly. My understanding is, based on the way that liquidity providing works, is people dumping their ERC20s will push the Pulse price up, not down. Now, guys, in the comments, correct me if I'm talking crazy here. I'm quite new to understanding liquidity providing, so I could be getting that the wrong way around. My second point, liquidity is mostly going to have to be provided by those who sacrifice. So the vast majority of Pulse is going to be in the hands of people who sacrifice, who are long-term believers. The origin address is going to hold on to a lot of those Pulse, we believe, and not really do anything with them. Maybe they'll provide some liquidity, I'm not sure, but it certainly seems like the people who are going to be providing the liquidity are going to be invested in Pulsechain long term. And the origin address, and Richard Hart have said in the past that the key is to not provide too much liquidity, to provide good price performance. So I think that's how it's going to play out, and I'm happy with that. My third point is we are seeing a reasonable amount in US dollar volume coming in per day at a time when everyone's being discouraged to sacrifice, and that's coming in at 5 cents. So for me, that's super bullish. And then my fourth point, in here, I've done a very basic piece of maths. It's, big guesstimates, not bothering with all the decimal places or anything like that. So at a very high level, we saw about 670 million given sacrificed during the sacrifice phase. There was around 41,000 addresses that did that. So clearly here I'm discounting what the origin address did. Personally, I think we should just ignore them from all of our equations, given what we've seen the origin address do for HEX. So by my maths, that's around a $16,000 stake on average. Clearly, there's going to be people with much larger stakes and much smaller. And on average, people got about 15,000 pulse per dollar that they sacrificed. So I believe, if my maths is correct, that on average people are going to get around 245 million pulse. So how is that going to play out? Now, personally, I think we have to look out for people with weak hands. I hate that phrase, but that's what everyone uses. The reason I say I hate it is because people want to take profits. You can't hodl forever. People have got a life to live. We're not all going to live forever. People have got things they need to pay for. You know, if you've got a great sum of money, people want to take out some profits. So I think it's going to be really hard to get beyond a 50x personally before we start seeing people pull profits. So if you take this $16,000 average stake, a 50x from there is around $800,000. I think at those kind of numbers, people are going to want to pull profits, quite rightly. It's going to be hard for people to have diamond hands. So that would be, I believe, at a price of around $0.003. So my guesstimate for the price would be somewhere in the middle of what we're currently being seen paid day to day in the late post the sacrifice phase. People are willing to pay 5 cents. I think it's going to be hard to not see some profit taking at a 0.003. So I think personally that in the first month of Pulse launching, we'll probably be hovering around 0.007. So just off a penny, which personally I think would be a great price. I think we can go a lot higher, but if we can be at 007, the James Bond number as I'm remembering it myself, I think that would put us in a great position. Let me know your thoughts. Am I crazy? Is my maths wrong? I'm genuinely not doing this to try and have a YouTube channel. I'm genuinely doing it because I want to get more information around Pulse and get a better understanding. So that's the end of my video. I'm logging off. If you enjoyed it, I don't really care if you subscribe. I don't really care if you like, but if you could comment and let me know if I've got stuff wrong and let me know what your price predictions are, that would be awesome. I'm thinking of doing another video. I'm going to take a look at ETH transaction fees to help guess the demand for Pulse on a daily basis once we launch, based on a number of assumptions around how many people are using Ethereum, how many people might be using Pulse, the fact that we'll be having a much higher transaction rate, how much do people pay in transactions on Ethereum, what might that translate to in Pulse. I want to try and start getting my head around where the price might go based on transaction fees. So if you're interested in that, again, just leave me a comment. And if you know if anyone's done any of this stuff already, then please do let me know. Thanks everyone, and take care. Bye.